Welcome back to Getting Better, or maybe it's your first time joining, in which case, lucky you. Death is an undeniable part of existence. And also, just like newsflash, I think we're all gonna die. So to learn all about this today, we have an incredible guest, Nurse Julie McFadden, who is the author of her new book, Nothing to Fear. How are you, Julie?
Hi, thank you for having me. I cannot wait to talk about this, as weird as that sounds.
No, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited to learn more about death. And that also sounds weird. But before we dive in, you and I, before we started recording today, we did take a field trip to our refreshment station. And while we were there, I complimented your color. And also while we were there, I felt your ponytail. And I just have to say, if there's any hairdressers watching this, if you're listening to this, you may have to go to Instagram to check it out. But your hair is so thick and gorgeous. And the hair that you were serving us today, you said blow dry. You said, if I'm going to talk about death, I'm going to give you some good ass hair. And so I just want to say, as a hairdresser, I see you, I applaud this work, and yes, queen. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And thank you I was honestly hoping you'd say something about my hair. I feel like this is just good genes. And also, Doreen, I'll tag her on my Instagram.
Yes. Okay.
Doreen, my
Shout
13
out Doreen.
years. 13 years she's been doing my hair.
Oh my God, we love Doreen.
I know.
Okay, so Doreen transitions to death.
Yes,
so,
she does D&D.
So you're a hospice nurse.
I'm a hospice nurse.
So
yes.
Can you tell people what that is?
So I'm a nurse. People often don't think hospice nurses are nurses. So, I have a degree in nursing, and I was an ICU nurse, which is basically the opposite of a hospice nurse for many years, intensive care unit, trying to keep people alive. And because of that experience, I became a hospice nurse, which is someone who is also a nurse who helps people die more peacefully and understand what's going to happen to their body and to them and to their loved ones during that process, because it usually is a process.
So what's people's reaction usually if they meet you and then they're like, what do you do? And then you're like, I'm a hospice nurse. How do people react?
Most people do the whole ugh, or it's either, that's depressing, or, oh, you're like an angel, which is also even more awkward, I think.
Why do you think people have such a hard time talking about death? Because I have a similar kind of feeling and response.
Well, one, I think it's really normal. So I think it's normal that people have a hard time with it. Hence why I am here. Hence why I started Hospice Nurse Julie, because I think we need to change the way we look at death and dying, because it's inevitable, whether it's quick, whether it's slow, whether, it's from cancer, it's from a car accident. I think it's going to happen, right? And I believe that the more education we have about it, the less we will fear. The less. You still have some fear because we're human, and that's an emotion.
Yeah.
Right? You'll still have some anxiety around it, some fear, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it, shouldn't learn about it. And from what I've seen, the people who are willing to do that feel a little better.
Why?
I think education.
Because knowledge is power.
Yeah,
vibes?
Knowledge is power. I think there is a mystery behind death, right? Well, it's the great unknown. But there are some things about the dying process that most people in the population do not know. And I do know, as a hospice nurse, anyone who works in hospice would know this, there are some comforting things that people don't know that happen during the death and dying process that I think if you did know, it wouldn't be as scary.
What are they?
Oh my gosh, I could go on and on. Okay, so the first and main thing I say is the body knows how to die. Biologically. So biologically, for the most part, right, the body just gives birth, right? So the body knows how to give birth. The body knows how to grow up and survive to an extent. And the body has built-in mechanisms to help you die. For instance, right? I didn't know this even as an ICU nurse, but watching it as a hospice nurse, it was blowing my mind. For instance, people who are getting towards the end of life, their hunger and thirst mechanism, the part of the brain that makes you hungry and thirsty, turns off. So you don't really feel hungry, you don't really feel thirsty, which helps you in the dying process. Your body also switches on a mechanism that makes you want to sleep all the time. So not that not being hungry and thirsty and sleeping all the time is fun, right? But the body is literally preparing itself. It's helping you go.
Because it doesn't want you to feel.
It doesn't want you to feel
hungry
awful and thirsty. Yeah, hungry and thirsty, but you can't eat. It wants you to kind of, how people always say, I just want to go to sleep and die, right?
Yeah.
I have seen so many people just go to sleep and die. because they're allowing the natural process to go, right? Not everybody. Like people think dying is painful. Diseases you die from cause pain sometimes. But the actual dying process of the body, the biological body, not our consciousness, right? The biological body isn't painful. It knows how to do it. It helps. I mean, if someone really stops eating and drinking because they're dying and sleeps all the time and sort of listens to their body, a lot of time the body goes into ketosis. It releases endorphins. It makes you feel good. It makes you sleep all the time. And I only know this because I've watched it over and over and over again.
How many people have you like been a hospice nurse for, would you say?
Oh,
or like have you seen die?
Hundreds? Oh, okay. So definitely hundreds, if not thousands of people. Not watch them immediately die though. So I've been
But you've been like a part of the process.
Part of, yeah.
Like there.
Definitely hundreds. Now, seeing someone take their last breath, that's fewer just because the timing of that all, right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I can't count how many people I've seen take their last breath. Like you cut, not to be crass, but you do lose track. Like you don't keep track of everybody, right? But I mean, I've seen it over and over and over again. And I've become passionate about it because dare I say, I mean, I know people are going to think this is crazy, but to me, it is beautiful. It's like watching a birth. Now, I don't have the grief, right? The grief, it's not my loved one, you know? So I'm separated from that sadness.
Right.
It still feels sad, but I don't have the deep grief, right? So I can see the beauty of it. I can see the love between the people who are there in the uncomfortable space with their loved one. And it's like, I mean, it's one of the greatest gifts I ever have received.
I know the process of what it was like with my like grandma and like with my stepdad. The former, like, it just, you know, she got sick and just kind of went into the hospital. And so she didn't really like, it wasn't necessary. It was palliative, but it wasn't that type of palliative care where it's like you have cancer and then you like make that decision to be like, there's nothing else we can do. You're going to go, you know, you're going to go back home and they like give you morphine and there's like the hospital bed in the house. And that was like my stepdad's experience.
Yeah.
So in his case, we had like, you know, I think like 2 weeks of him at home. And so we got to have the anticipatory grief. Like I got to say everything I ever wanted to say. He got to tell me anything. Like, so that was really kind of like cathartic and it was longer. So the only reason I'm saying this now is to say that like, I'm kind of familiar with, I think I know what the process is like if you're having that hospice experience at home from the hospital. But if anyone's listening and they haven't had that, or they're worried that they may have that, like what is like the order of things going from like fighting for your life care to like palliative care? Like what happens there?
Yeah. So palliative or hospice. And just so everyone knows, palliative care, you can still quote unquote like fight for your life, which I don't really like using those words, but which we can talk about in a second. But because I still, but palliative care, you can still like get chemo, get radiation, like be in the hospital. They're more of a symptom management program, usually with someone who's like they have a life limiting illness. They probably are terminal, but maybe they haven't gotten there yet, right? Now, hospice, we're like your stepdad, right? You go home, you get the hospital bed, you get the healthcare workers come into your house. That is true end of life care, meaning like someone has told you, hey, there's no more you can do. Or the person says, I don't want to keep doing this. I don't want to keep getting chemo. It's making me sick, yada, 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 right? You can get hospice in your home, right? Where that means your family mostly takes care of you and the hospice workers do come in, but the family does most of the work in the home, okay? Or you can go into like a hospice home where you're in a place that's like hospice, right? And then your family comes to visit you there. I only do the home hospice. So, and if you do that, you know, you get a team of people to help you live. I mean, this sounds so cheesy, Jonathan, but hospice is about living. A lot of people come on too late, so they don't see that. They feel like it's only about dying. But the whole point of us being there is to help manage symptoms of the disease you're dying from so you can live out the rest of your life. And I want it to be less of a scary word so people choose it more, because I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think people wait so long because the word hospice is like, ooh, you know?
Because I even caught it when I asked you the question, I said fighting for your life. It's like, it doesn't even mean that you're not fighting for your life.
Yeah.
It's just, like, I just feel like hear that kind of like narrative a lot. So it's not that you don't want to, it's like, but you may have just come into a point. So let me ask you this question. So it's like, what's the difference between fearing death and accepting it? And why does that matter so much?
So I think, okay, so it's normal to fear death, right? My book is called, ironically, Nothing to Fear, right? But there is a caveat in the book that says, listen, it's not nothing to fear. It's normal to fear, right? So it's not like we're suddenly going to get to this place of full acceptance and like, let's go. I mean, some people actually do, but majority of people are human and they have human emotions, and it's a range every other day. You know, some days they're more fearful, some days they're more peaceful. So so the point of getting to acceptance, or at least closer to it, is about talking about the truth. And the truth is we all fear it, even a little bit. I always say I don't really fear death. But if I was diagnosed with something terminal tomorrow, I would still have the human experience of being angry. I don't want to freaking die.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to die. What the hell? I'm only 42. Why is this happening to me?
I want someone else to fuck my husband.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we need to talk about.
I mean, I'm fine with it like once or twice, but not like forever.
But not forever. I'm not here. Yeah.
Yeah, the anger. Because yes. What's it? But okay. You know.
So people need to do that. And I only know this because I've seen it. The people who are willing to go there to say the truth, I'm getting chills just talking about it. There's something about expressing the truth of how you feel, whether it's right or wrong, you know, whenever we have these ideas of like, I just need to accept it. It's not about that. It's about expressing your truth in the moment that you're in, and someone else being able to also accept that truth and not go, no, it's okay. Don't feel that way. I won't have sex with anybody else. It's about like, I'm angry too. I'm pissed too. I'm scared too. I don't want you to die, and having these moments of truth together. There is something that is freeing about that in that moment, you do feel a little more acceptance. And it might go away in the next moment, right? But like there's something about going there that can help people.
So terminology wise, what's like, so end of life care is like end of life care. Palliative is, what's the difference between palliative and end of life? Is there a difference?
There is a little bit of a difference. So it's kind of, to me, it's like, it's a little boring and a little like super detail oriented, and it depends on like who you're talking to and what and where you're living and like what city you're in. So palliative, but generally speaking, palliative care is like a symptom management program. So you have some kind of disease that you're either getting sick from because of the disease or sick from because of the treatment of the disease. Palliative care comes in and tries to take care of you as a whole person and manage those symptoms and kind of talk to you about the disease. If you can get on palliative care, no matter, like, you should always do it. Like, people also fear like palliative care, that's bad. No, there's like literally no downside to it. You should always do palliative care if you can. They are just going to help you more and more, right? So they help with symptom management. And there's usually really good healthcare workers that go into palliative care. So they're like amazing humans as well. And then hospice is, I don't want to say you lose things, but because it's federally funded, Medicare is our boss. So all hospice companies in the US need to follow Medicare guidelines and what Medicare says we can do as a hospice provider. Okay. So you lose some things because they say, now, once you're on hospice, you can't go back into the hospital. Once you're on hospice, you can't get chemo anymore. You can't get radiation anymore. So it's very like, we will give you comfort and all the supplies and all the equipment and medications to make you feel comfortable, but you can't do this anymore. And this is like, get lab work, go to the hospital, get radiation, get chemo. Now there are sometimes you can get those things, which is like too much detail, but that's generally speaking.
What have you noticed about people? Because I noticed that I've seen, a few people have like longer deaths from like cancer and like, navigate this. And of the people who I've seen kind of go through it, I've witnessed, like, I think it's just like anything, everyone's going to experience it differently and they're going to have like different reactions. But is there anything generally that you've noticed, like, for the family or for the caregivers, like, allows them to navigate such a difficult process with any more comfort or ease?
Yeah, that's really difficult because we don't live in a world, especially in the US, that helps people, right? Like that helps caregivers, that helps families. There isn't. The one thing I can really complain about, and I don't have an answer, so I try not to complain about it, but is that with hospice, if you're going to be in your home, we don't provide 24-hour care, period. Like, unless the symptoms are fully unmanaged, which doesn't happen a lot, we don't provide 24-hour care. So that's all on the family. I'm sure people listening who have been through this are like, yeah, we know. So the family has to do it all, and it's really, really hard. So that's period. Like, I want to acknowledge that so people know that, like, I see them, I know how hard it is, and it's unfair, period. But I will say this. I think it's definitely a all hands on deck kind of time. So this idea of like, there's only me, only I can do this. That may be true, but I feel like many times it just feels like that, and it's hard to ask for help. So like, I'm talking like neighbors, right? People who say like, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Like, let me know how I can help you, right? Most people are like, yeah. But it's like, okay, yeah. Can you come over for the 2 hours in the morning so I just need a break because I need to walk around the block and get a coffee. And we really need to get better. And I'm saying this to myself too, at asking for help, even with people who you're like, really? Like your neighbor, or if you're involved in some kind of community who said like, I heard that so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. Like let me know how I can help. Tell them. And it's usually about getting more time. Like, you need time for yourself. Like, yes. You can't be here 24/7.
Why is avoiding the topic of death detrimental to our lives?
Because from what I've seen, people who tend to do that do not live as well, so they do not die as well. And that is what I've seen. Now, is it always like that? No, not everyone has control. No one has control over stuff, but I've seen people who are willing to talk about it, which helps them accept it, which helps them learn about it, seem to live better in the day that they're in and die more peacefully. So it's all about, for me anyway, talking about or educating people to just talk about it. It doesn't have to be right or wrong. It's definitely not going to feel good or feel like this makes sense. This is comfortable. I think it's going to feel a little awkward, and you're not going to know what to say, and you're not going to know how to talk about it, which actually I do give tips and tricks on like how to do that. But generally speaking, I think we all avoid feeling uncomfortable, or if we think we're uncomfortable, then it must be wrong.
Yes.
And what I've found is that it's like, no, we just sit in the uncomfortableness. It's messy, it's weird, but that does seem to help. And I've just witnessed it with my own eyes so often that it's like, people need to know this. People need to know that like, it's okay to talk about it. And it's okay to feel bad talking about it too. Just because it feels bad doesn't mean that it's not going to help.
Yeah. So I would imagine that like in your job, like there's been like long hours like spent with like family members and like patients who are dying and going through like the end stages of dying. I would imagine that there is like stories that you've overheard. We're not violating HIPAA here. I'm going to get to the point. But is there anything that like any stories that were shared with you, or like things like not to do? Or it's like if someone like was saying like, oh, like I asked someone for help and they said no, or like they pulled away from me, or like once I told them that I was sick, they like dropped me like a hot sack of potatoes. Like, is there anything that's like really hurtful, or like it's like, don't do this if someone tells you that they have a, like that sort of thing?
Yes. So if someone is talking to you openly about what's happening with them, right, which is like bravo, whatever, you know, it's a beautiful thing. Don't deny how they're feeling or try to quote unquote make them feel better. That's the biggest thing.
So what would that look like?
That would look like someone going, they said there's nothing more they can do. I guess this is like the end. So no, it's not. Don't say that. No, we're going to keep fighting. You're going to keep fighting. You know what? I had a cousin and an uncle who went to Mexico and they got this thing and they drank this juice and he's still living. He's still here. Okay, I think
I kind of fuck up and do that sometimes.
I know. Everyone does. Yeah. Everyone does. And don't do it. It's probably, no offense, maybe the worst thing you could do. Like you don't need to make someone feel better, because it doesn't make them feel better. What makes them feel better, and I've done this myself. So I haven't maybe said something like that, but I've definitely tried to make someone feel better, right? The best thing you can do to make someone feel better is, one, just be quiet. Let them talk. Let them talk, and let there be silence, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Because you're just showing them like, hey, I'm really comfortable with you talking about really uncomfortable things, right?
Yeah.
And I've gotten really good at it. because I do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
So like the more you do that, the more they will talk. And by the end of it, you might not have said anything and they'll be like, I love you. Thank you so much. This helped me so much.
Okay, but what if they're talking and then you're just sitting there listening and then they're like, why aren't you fucking saying anything?
And
like,
then
what are some things that you
truth.
could say?
You say the truth. Say the truth in that moment.
Which
I don't
would
know
be
whatever the truth is for you.
Oh.
I'm so uncomfortable. I'm so scared.
God.
I'm so scared.
Or like, I'm just so sorry you're going through this.
Yeah,
like,
I'm so
fuck.
sorry you're going for this. This is awful. I like say the truth in the. Can I give you a story? This is a perfect story of like what happened to me once, and it's a great lesson. So I went to a patient's house, and the patient opened the door. She seemed like perfectly healthy and normal. Obviously she wasn't, but I'm not used to like seeing someone who's still walking. She's by herself. Yada yada. Right? She was cold. And I like warm and fuzzy, and I'm warm and fuzzy, and I want you to like me, and I'm going to like do cartwheels and like do everything so you like me now. Okay. Yeah. And she
that
like,
resonates.
Yeah, she would not. She's not giving me anything. She's cold the whole time. And I'm there for like hours doing admissions, right? Because it takes a long time. So we're talking, blah, 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 blah. She's giving me like one word answers, cold, cold, cold. I'm like, okay, this lady is like, I'm like throwing all the stops out. Like, I think I'm being charming. She doesn't care. So finally I like give it up. I'm like, okay, Julie, like she's having her own experience. And I'm just documenting now because now it's taken forever. And all of a sudden I see her kind of relaxing and she like lays on her couch, puts her hands behind her head and is like looking up at the ceiling. And she goes, and it's quiet. And she goes, you know, I've been a Christian my whole life and I believe in God, but am I really going to close my eyes when I die and wake up and see him? And I'm like typing, okay? And I realize, I look up, she's looking at me. This is not a rhetorical question. She's actually asking me this question, right? Now in the moment, I'm kind of course, I want her to like me. I believe in a higher power. Like, I don't know if I believe in hers, but like, I want to go like, yes, that's what I think. I think you're going to see God, blah, 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 blah. And something in me said, Julie, just say the truth. And the truth is, I have no idea. So I just go, I don't know. And in that moment, she like burst out laughing and was like, oh my gosh, well, I guess I'll find out. And I was like, I guess you will. And then we laughed together and then she got up and hugged me. And then she was warm and fuzzy and was like, thank you. This has been so amazing, blah, 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 right? And all I said to her was the truth, which was, I don't know.
Oh my God, it's going to make me cry.
I know. And it was like, this is what people need. This is how you connect. Because I was like you, like when I said, I don't know. And then she laughed. I almost started crying because then I was laughing with her. And we kind of were like teary-eyed together, hugging, being like, I guess I'll find out. Let me know, you know? And it was beautiful. So that's what we miss out on when we don't allow ourselves to be in that uncomfortableness of it.
How does not talking about death impact us like financially, emotionally, like logistically? And how can we plan for it better? There
are specific things you can do, which I get into in my book and my journal about like actually how to practically do it. Okay. Generally speaking, death is scary and feels bad. Okay. Like no matter what you do, right? Everyone knows this. They feel sad. It feels overwhelming. It's so much harder to do things when you're in that space. Okay. It makes it so much harder. So you want to do those things before you're in that space. And the more you do, the better, usually the more smooth things will go. So what to do? I mean, there's so much, it's like too hard to get into the whole list, but financially or like what steps to take would be give someone that you love and trust, that you think you'll love and trust forever. So not just like the current boyfriend, right? But like someone you love and trust forever. Passwords to your phone, passwords to your bank account, passwords to your email, but like anything where like they need to get into like whatever it is, someone needs to know that. And people don't think about that. And it's really, really hard to do stuff for the person who has died when you don't know any of their stuff, right? So that's one thing you can do is like find a trusted person, write it down somewhere, they can save it for later. Talk with your loved one, and you can always start with if you have an older adult, right, that you're trying to figure out, hey, I know I'm gonna have to make decisions for you, like your parent or something, and I don't know what you want. If sometimes they'll go, I don't want to talk about this, right? But the best thing you can do is either start talking about what you want. Hey, I need you to know what I want just in case something happens to me. And then usually they can start, it opens the gate to talk about what they want. Or you can say, I know you're fine right now. Like, Mom, I know you're totally fine right now and you're like golfing and doing your thing. But if something were to ever happen to you, it would make my life so much easier if you help me plan for it right now. That will usually help them because they're helping you. So they want to help you, right?
And one thing,
you.
You don't have to like be an estate lawyer. So one thing would be like having them have like a will.
Yeah, having a will. So the main things would be like, if you were to drop dead, do you want CPR? Do you want a machine hooked up to you if you can't breathe? If you do, how long do you want to be hooked up?
Yes. Till I'm 107, cryogenically freeze me. Mark already knows that. I'm very much like, I'm not that like really like, as long as like, I really just need to be resuscitated when I'm like 100 just to be like, oh my God, I made it to a century and then I can die. Even if they like.
Jonathan, no.
No, I think that's what I want.
Not if you're 100.
No, I've always wanted to be like 107. It's like a really strong goal for me.
It's going to be really hard.
I want to be the oldest person living with HIV. So I don't know what the record is, but like I'm going to get in the Guinness Book of World Records for that. And just you wait. I'm going to be 107 and like doing like fucking like probably doing like round up back handsprings until I'm like 95. Probably.
I have to respect what you want, but CPR is violent.
No, okay. Actually, I read a fucking article about this, about how sometimes people do CPR, but then like it ends up bringing them back to like a vegetative comatose state where they like never really regain their full function.
That's how it mostly happens. That's why it's CPR. So people don't understand that CPR usually doesn't work. CPR is meant for like, if you were to drop dead right now, CPR would probably help you and bring you back. You'd be fine. Okay. And I could do it for you. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Forever tied.
Do I get mouth to mouth?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
it's like the only way I'm probably going to like, we're really going to make out is if that happens.
If that happens.
Yes.
Okay. But if you were 100, you're going to have some comorbidities. I don't care if you're the healthiest 100-year-old. You're still frail. Okay.
Yes.
We're going to break bones. We're going to break ribs.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, end of story, period.
Yeah.
Always. Like you're always breaking sternums and stuff when you're giving CPR. So it's violent. People don't know that, and it usually doesn't work. Like I said, it's meant for healthy people who drop dead suddenly in a mall. It's not meant for someone who's really old.
Ugh.
I know, but we can still do it, but it would be awful.
I think we talked about some of the things that happen. What happens after that?
So that's the actively dying process.
Yes.
So that's the very end. So breathing changes, skin color changes, the gurgle, like the death rattle. It's called terminal secretions. Most people think it's coming from the lungs, like they're drowning. Not happening. It's a little bit of saliva that's usually there all the time. You and I will have it. Everyone has it, but our brain will automatically have a swallow. End of life, they're not swallowing, and their mouth's usually open. So that little bit of saliva, sometimes a lot of it, but usually a little bit, with the wet breath going over, makes a gurgle noise. That's the indication to you, one, that they're close to death, but it is okay, but most people think it's not okay. The whole reason why we talk about all of this is that I think it's so important people know what end of life can look like, because people tell me, I'm traumatized, my loved one suffered so much, and then they'll describe the actively dying process. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, they probably didn't suffer so much, but you just didn't know what it looked like. So you're thinking it's horrific and this is awful, blah, blah, blah. That's why I want to prepare people so they can be present in the moment, still uncomfortable, still sad, but know their loved one's not suffering.
So you can like minimize not minimize, but like
minimize.
But it is, because it's like, yes.
Yeah.
So then once the death rattle noise starts, like you're probably pretty close, or you're pretty close. What else do people, so there's like the will, talking about your will, we need to make sure we do. What else do people, and then the passwords.
Yep, passwords.
Yes.
Advanced, so it's like a will or advanced planning. That's what I call it. Usually advanced planning.
That's like do not resuscitate.
Yes, it should be detailed. I'm talking detailed. So there's little things you can do where it's like a checkbox where it's really easy, like CPR, no CPR, intubation, no intubation. Those things are great. But I think you should go a step further with that and get very detailed. You know, how long do you want to be intubated? Do you want to?
Is intubated like the things breathing for you?
Yes, the things breathing for you. So, and it's going to change over time, right? Because I have this done now. I'm 42 and healthy, so I want all the things done. Now, if I get lucky enough to live till I'm 85, I'm going to be changing this advanced directive as I age, okay, as things happen to me. You also want to get an estate planner, even if you think you have no estate to plan, okay?
What age do you think people should start doing that at?
If you have money, I mean, not money, not a lot of money, I think anytime, like you should have at least a beneficiary. at least, even if you don't have anything to give away. I just think you need.
I did mine.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I totally did mine.
Good.
But I will tell you that I found my estate planner lawyer, and then we like started to do it, and then my like coworker, because I had like a brief private plane phase. It was very short. It was very small. It was like very short, you guys. Like, don't fucking come for me. And then I learned more about it. And so then I don't fucking do that anymore. And then I realized how expensive it was. So I really don't do it anymore. But back when I was about to sign it, literally the estate planner was like, oh, I heard you're like on a small plane tomorrow. We should probably sign this today. And I purposely didn't sign it because I felt like if I did, the universe was going to make the plane crash. And I didn't sign it, and the plane did not crash, and then I did sign it. So
very good.
Just like do listen to your instincts about that, because sometimes I think like when I'm really, really late, I'll be like, oh my God, that probably saved me. Like that probably saved my life.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do think about that Final Destination sort of thing.
Same. I mean, that movie got to all of us.
It really did. So
Yeah.
speaking of that though, I think that I was just theorizing in my brain, like, I wonder if that is why people are so death avoidant and don't want to talk about it, because of that idea that like our psyches are formed when we're really, really little. And I feel like so much of the media that we get exposed to, like my first thought of death is like Bambi, the mom, Land Before Time, the mom. That really looking back on it made me always terrified that my mom was just going to die like at any given moment.
Yes.
But it's like we're incredibly terrified of death. And I feel like we see that. Do you think that's part of why? Or do you think it's like a Christian thing, a cultural thing? Not everything's the Christian's fault, you know?
Yeah.
So, poor things, we love them.
I think it's all of it. I think it's all of it. One, if you think back to, because I did some research just because I talk about this all the time. In the 1800s, which is not that long ago, right? People were dying in their homes. There wasn't like a big Western medicine push where there's like a ton of hospital stays and people die in the hospitals. And there's like doctors still came to your house with like a bag, you know what I mean? So people were dying in their homes, and families would see this more, and they would be there more. And there wasn't this like fight mentality. At least they probably did, but it just looked a lot different, right? So I think children saw death in their home. Families saw more death in their home. Grandma died in the bed upstairs, and the wake was there too. They used to put like black wreaths and black curtains on homes in the neighborhood, so the whole neighborhood knew this family was grieving. And if they knew that, that meant you rally around this family and you help them. Yes. So there was a lot more community outreach. You know, things were smaller. Things, you know, it wasn't like worldwide internet stuff, right? So it was like, I just think it was more relevant. You know, children died a lot more, right? So people had a lot of kids. I'm like, half of them died, right? It's like, we were used to seeing all this. So I think as medicine got better, which is great, we got less and less used to seeing it, right? And now it's like the ultimate, no one can die. We can't die. We can't talk about it. And I feel like I'm here to change that. Not just me. I mean, there's a bunch of people doing this too, but I feel like we need this movement of, we need to talk about death because it's going to help you. It's going to help you. It's inevitable anyway.
So based on your experience, what do you think are some of the most challenging choices that families face regarding medical interventions, and how clarity around that, like, I mean, I think you already said that, because it's like just the most advanced directive that you can have. It's like, do not avoid it, because once you're incapacitated, it is out of your hands.
Yes.
And once your parent is, if they don't have one, then it's on you. And then you will have to live with that if it like wasn't like, you know, and you won't know. So it's like really talking about it is the best thing to do, no matter how uncomfortable it is.
Exactly. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for the person that you know will be making the decision when you can't.
And then if you have like a friend who's like family member is going through this, or like a friend who's going through this themselves, like they've like, it's like a younger person, they've been diagnosed with something like this. This is actually a question for me. I mean, like, I get a lot of, like, I get this on like Cameo sometimes, like people will be like, so-and-so, and then I feel like I do go into like a fix it thing. And you've already said this 19 times. So really though, what you should do is just like, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Yeah. I don't know exactly what to say. But you just like would say your truth. Yeah.
I think it's like, it's uncomfortable. Like you're not going to say everything
that's going to fucking, yeah.
It's like, it's uncomfortable, period. Like, you know, Glennon Doyle says like, we can do hard things. Like that's like an example of this, right? So if you got a Cameo, someone being like, I just got diagnosed with something awful. I feel awful, like seeing you and whatever, giving me some cheer, right? Whatever. Like, so you just say, I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's horrific.
I'm going to drop my puss right here, right now. I'm going to fucking pop it on a handstand right now.
I'm going to do a split, or I'm going to do whatever for you. Please know I'm thinking of you. I'm sending you my love, like, period. You know? So you're not going to say the most perfect thing because you can't fix it.
Totally.
Not
Yeah, because that
anyone.
fix-it person just wants to come out, that little fix-it. So it's like, just don't do that. I say that to my husband all the time. What about like some like the beautiful things that like, oh wait, I love that I asked you, then I'm like, can I tell you another one about, okay, but this is so interesting. So like my stepdad that passed away, his mom also had cancer and she like passed away in hospice care in the house. And she was like, it was taking like a long time. And like she was talking still. And there was like and so she was kind of like going to sleep this one night. We all went over there for dinner. And then Steve was like, I'm going to stay. And so he said to her, and he told to my mom that he was going to say this, but he like got like on the bed with her and he was like, I just want you to know Dick is going to be fine. That like his older brother, Ann's going to be okay. That's little sister. Mike's going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. We love you so much. It's like going to make me cry talking about it. Like, it's okay for you to go if you want to go. If you feel ready to go, you can go. And then he like got in the car and drove back to our house. And then our phone rang 5 minutes later and she had passed away. And it had been like 2 months.
Yeah.
And she was like, and even the doctors had said like they're like, oh, it's like there's maybe like longer, like her body, you know.
Yeah.
And like, but once like he literally said like, you have permission to go if you want to go, like if you're, and then she did.
Yeah.
So I do feel like people can kind of like, once you get to a certain point, I feel like the body can kind of almost relax or like let go or like choose or something.
Yeah. I mean, I talk about this in my book. My longest chapter is my medical phenomena chapter. Phenomena.
Yeah, phenomena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are things that happen at the end of life that are unexplainable. And as a nurse, like a woman of science, right? I have logic and I have reason and I don't. So it's hard for me to like admit that there are these things at the end of life that happen that are mysterious, but they happen so often that you have to talk about it. So I'm not really here in this world to be like, and that means that there's an afterlife, or that means, but I am here to make sure people know that it happens, and it happens so much. Medical, like the things that I have seen people do and say, and at the end of life are like, I mean, it's just magical, for lack of a better word.
Like what?
So one, the most that you see, like the most thing you see is something called terminal lucidity, which is real. One in every 3 people do this, where they look like they're going to die. They're very, very close. Then all of a sudden, boom, they have this burst of energy.
That happened to Steve.
Yes.
Literally, he went into hospice and then the next day, he was like, I feel amazing. I haven't felt this good in like 10,000 years. Like maybe we did this too soon. I think we did it too soon. And then they're like, this kind of happens sometimes. And then all these people came and visited and he was like, I feel incredible. Like this is like, and then like the next day did not like it was like a one-day thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. The terminal, we call it the rally or the surge, real name terminal lucidity. The thing about it is they have this burst, last usually 1-2 days. They're hungry, their personality's back. They can get up, they can walk, they feel like themselves again. And then after a couple of days, they either die. Some people go real quick, they die, or they just kind of go back to how they were.
That was like, it was like June 2nd or something. Then he passed away on like June. Or no, it was like July 2nd, and then he passed away on like July 6th.
Okay, yeah, that was the rally.
Yeah.
That was the rally.
Or actually, no, I'm lying. It was because he went into hospice like on his birthday, which was June 14th, because like Flag Day.
Okay.
And then he like passed on July 6th. And my mom, that was their 16th wedding anniversary, and she literally said like 2 weeks before he died, she was like, I have this feeling that he's going to pass away on our anniversary. And I was like, no, he's not. Like, he's not going to. Like, that's not what is happening. But then he totally did.
Yeah.
Almost to the minute.
Maybe he chose that.
I think that there was like a thing there.
Now, the second thing that happens, which is the most beautiful thing to me, is visioning, end of life visioning. People seeing dead relatives, dead loved ones, old pets that have died.
That?
Yes. So what's crazy is it usually happens like a month before someone dies, not right at the deathbed. It happens like when people are still up, walking, talking, they're oriented usually, and they will just say like, I don't know what's going on, but like my parents came to my bedside. They said, I'm not dying yet, but I'm going to die soon, and they're going to come get me, and not to worry. Like, I can't tell you, Jonathan, how many times that has happened. Countless. It almost is like second nature. Like, it's not even something I fully remember all the time because it happens to so many people. Now, again, I don't know why it happens. We don't know why it happens. And I know as a nurse what ICU psychosis looks like, what delirium looks like, what lack of oxygen looks like, because people try to claim that's what it is. That's not what's happening here. These people are alert and oriented, not on a bunch of medications, not oxygen deprived. So I don't know why it's happening, but I know it's like changed the way I think
And like
of things.
atheists and like people, all sorts of different people.
All sorts of different people. Yeah, I know. It's not just like religious
Christian,
people.
yeah.
It's not just religious people.
Yeah,
no,
religious. I gotta start saying that instead of
it's anyone and everyone. And the reason why I think I see it so much is because I educate a lot. So I want them to know that this is a normal thing. Because a lot of times before I didn't educate, families would call me and be like, my loved one's going crazy. Like they're seeing something, blah, 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 blah. Right. So now I educate about it. And 9 times out of 10, when I tell them this might happen, they grab me and go, it's already happening.
And then what's the third thing?
Well, there's more than that, but like there's the death reach, people reaching up.
I saw that on TikTok today because it could tell that I was going to interview you.
Yeah.
And it literally, I saw this man and then, yes, the death reach. I've never heard about that until literally today on TikTok.
Yeah. So you'll see them reaching up. You'll see them do staring where they're smiling. They'll choose when they die. So people will, I had a lady once literally just go like, I'm tired, I'm done, I'm dying tonight, blah, 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 blah. Her caregiver was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're fine. No, you're not. Like, I'll see you in the morning. Died. Next day, dead. I mean, so.
My grandma had Alzheimer's, like dementia. She died on my 22nd birthday which was like March 28th, right? Like 2 weeks before that, it's my cousin Michael's birthday. And she was like really out of it and had been out of it. Like she was like not lucid. And then she woke up and she was like, tomorrow's Michael's birthday. And it was. Then she kind of goes back to sleep, like not super with it. And then like the day before my birthday, I was like, is she going to die on my fucking birthday? Because I did her hair every Friday for like 3 years and we got like really close and she was really funny and cute.
Yeah.
And then she did. And then like 5 years later, I talk about this on the pod all the time. My other grandma, who I loved so much, died on my little cousin's birthday. So both of my grandmas died on their youngest grandchild's birthday, which if any statistician is ever going to fucking listen to the show and tell us like what the chances of that are, I'm just dying to know. But I really do think that Noni like chose, because just before she had died, like she was like an elderly home, and the doctors literally had said to my dad, like, you guys might need to prepare like more financially because like I think her body is like quite strong and I don't think that this is going to happen soon. And she was really cheap. Like she was tighter than the bark on a tree. She used to pay me like $6 to do her hair. Like whereas if I had done my other grandma's hair, she would have been like, not that I was doing her hair for money, but you know what I'm saying? Like that didn't even cover the gas to like go pick her up and bring her to the salon. But once I think she like overheard and she was like, what?
Seriously?
That much? Ow.
Yes.
Like, and she was not having it because she was not spending that money.
Yes. Yes. I love when I have an elderly person who's like in their 90s. Oh, which we can talk about. That's the death with dignity thing. But like in their 90s and they're like ready to go. They are literally begging for death. And I love that. I love it. It's like, good for you. They're like, listen, I've lived a long ass life. Like I can't see, I can't hear. Like, I'm ready to go. And I feel like some of them just choose to do it.
What about like for you having been in this, like you've been doing this for a long time. What do you hear about like in news or like across culture that you're just like those like death pods in like Switzerland? Are you like pro death pod, anti death pod? Like no opinion on death pod? What about Dr. Kevorkian? What about all of it?
Oh my gosh, I'm pro it. Yeah, I actually did a video about the death pod. Now I don't know enough about it to like know the ins and outs, and if they should be like just like I don't think they should be like scattered around the city just to like hop in and do what you want to do, right? I do think it's sad that we're in a world that like people feel like that's the only option. And I think that's because we live in this world that doesn't help people. And it's a whole nother podcast, right? Where it's like,
because like once you know, it's like people just discard you.
Yeah, right.
It's like they're like, oh, that's too much.
Or like, I can't get the help I need, so I'd rather die. You know, like chronic illness is a thing. Like mental health issues are a thing. And
so what about
support.
that? Because I feel like I have those stories like in Amsterdam of like those like young people who like are choosing like end of life care, or like, well, it's not even end of life care. They're like choosing to like
end their life
they
can legally
because of like mental health things. That feels like but then I'm like, is this my growing up in a church? Like, I don't know exactly like, but I'm just like, God damn.
Yeah. I mean, I always want to be like, people can do what they want, I guess. If I don't like it, I don't have to do it. Right. That's like what I've been saying about all types of things. So I try to have that view with that as well, but it does hit me a little different too. Cause I think, wow, there must be a lack of support there. There must be a lack of something there that like, if only we could get to that versus being like, death is the only way.
Yeah.
It seems sad.
Yes.
Yeah. But as far as like,
I think I have an aversion to it too, because I think it's being non-binary. It's to this or that. Like if you have a mental health thing and it's like, I'm going to live or die, I'm like, no, there's got to be another way, honey. There's got to be some gray.
And around death, there is so much gray. I always talk about that. People love to live in the black and white, including me. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel this, makes you have control. Death is not black and white. Death is in the gray. And people don't like that, So like I try to educate enough so they feel a little more in control. But generally speaking, it's like you got to get used to like the grayness of it all.
Rapid fire. What are the links between avoiding conversations about death and unresolved grief or anxiety?
Control. I think, I don't know about unresolved grief because that's like not my specialty, but I just think there is something about, if we talk about it, it might happen. Or like if I let everyone know the truth of my fear, it's going to get worse. And then I'm going to fear it more. And I won't have control. I'm going to lose control. But really it's the opposite. It's like the more we kind of resist, right? The more that classic, the more you resist, the more it persists. That's what I think it is. So it's like, we need to get how we feel out in the open about death and dying. So I'm anxious, I'm scared, I have unresolved grief, I'm sad, I'm angry. I mean, anger is a lot there too. And I think it just feels so scary to feel those things, to talk about those things, so we don't do it. But again, from my experience, you just gotta start. You gotta say the scary thing out loud. And if you can't say it out loud, write it out first. Write it and then maybe read it, even if it's just to yourself. There's something about the truth. I mean, how cheesy, but like there's something about the truth that will set you free. Even just a little bit for the moment. It releases that grip of fear around you.
I could talk to you for the rest of my life. Thank you so much for coming on, Nurse Julie. And thank you so much for doing all of your important work. And your book is available now. Get it wherever you get your books. And where are you the most active on social for people to follow?
I mean, basically everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. YouTube is my favorite.
It is? Hospice, is that where you're the most yourself?
Yeah. YouTube.
Say your handle one more time.
Hospice Nurse Julie.
Hospice Nurse Julie, and we'll put the link on wherever you're listening or watching this. So thank you so much for coming on Getting Better. We love you so much.
Thank you. I love you too. It's been wonderful.